Face the Cowboys, the Bucks crush the Warriors, and the NBA reportedly tells the Kings to stop playing cold as ice. But we begin today with the two NFL playoff games scheduled for tomorrow. They are the Raiders at the Bengals, and later in what is being forecast for single-digit weather, the Patriots at the Bills. Wilbon, which of these results do you feel more confident about?
Tone, I play a confidence pool every week for like the last, 12, 14 football seasons, and you rank these games from 16 is the highest number you can assign your own pick. You got conviction. That's New England against the Jets. That's a 16-point game. And a 1-point game is a toss-up game. You have no idea. Tone, I'm single digits on these because I don't trust the Bengals as good as they look. I never trust them. Every year I go through the last dozen plus years, I pick the Bengals to beat somebody on Sunday because they've won 5 in a row. You can't trust them. I don't know how good the Raiders are. And the other game, I think I'm going to pick Buffalo, but I wouldn't go higher, Tony, than a 6 or a 7. And then I think, wait a minute, I don't pick against Belichick. I don't do that. So I don't know where to go with this. I'm glad that's a regular season pool, and I don't have to actually back these things up. But I guess if I have to, I'm going to go with Buffalo, and Cincinnati. And I don't trust either one of those. What do you say to this?
So this is interesting because I'm going to concur with you, but with a different analogy because I'm not in a confidence pool. But I read the Capital Weather Gang every single day in the Washington Post. I read them obsessively, and they forecast weather. And at the end of their forecast, they talk about how much confidence they have in the forecast. And sometimes it's high, sometimes it's medium high, sometimes it's just medium. I have zero confidence in what I'm about to say. Absolute zero. I do not know which teams are going to win. In the Raiders against Cincinnati, I have one weather fact that I can use. That Derek Carr is apparently 0-5 in games that are played in 38-degree temperature or below. And this game is going to be in the low 30s. So maybe you could say that. But you know what, Mike? And I love Joe Burrow. I really do. But I hear your voice coming back at me saying the following things. Cincinnati is stupid, and they never win any playoff games. And in fact, Mike, they haven't won a playoff game in 31 years.
Yeah. I was
31
there.
years on the other game.
I had an afro the last time the Bengals won a playoff game. I did. I can show it to you. You remember.
The other game for me, the New England-Buffalo game, I don't think weather affects teams from Buffalo or Boston, though Mac Jones grew up in Jacksonville and he played in Alabama. He hasn't played in a lot of cold weather games. I'm inclined, Mike. I'm inclined because I remember what New England did against Buffalo in Buffalo to at least take the 4 points and maybe take New England. But again, if you want me to give you confidence, ask me if I think Kansas City's going to win. I have no confidence in these. None.
I don't have any. But, Tony, again, I've been saying since week 1, that's the beauty of this season. This season, you don't have teams that are overwhelmingly favorites. I don't care what Vegas says. I mean, when you use your eyes to assess the teams, you don't have teams that are overwhelming favorites. And by the way, Josh Allen, he's not any good in the cold. He's talking about his toes freezing. Can I skip and can I switch right now and go back to New England? You know what? I'm not taking Buffalo. I'm taking New England. More confidence in. Let's go to Cincinnati. Let's move, not to Cincinnati, but the most compelling of Sunday's games, the Niners and the Cowboys. Dallas is at home in favor, but the Niners have won 4 of 5, including beating Tony's Rams in L.A. last week. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott has a big contract now to live up to, but Niners quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo is playing for his gig as usual. So, Tony, which quarterback is under more pressure Sunday?
So I've thought about this. I've thought about Garoppolo, and I know what you're saying. A lot of people believe that he's playing for his job again.
He is.
I actually don't think he is. I don't think he is, and I'll tell you why. I don't think he's under any pressure because I don't think the 49ers want him, despite the fact, and let me get the number correct, that he's 33-14 as a starter, that he's 2-1 in the playoffs, and then he started in a Super Bowl game. I don't think they want him at all, and I'll tell you why. They moved up to number 3 in last year's draft, and they drafted a quarterback. That tells you they don't want Garoppolo. I think Garoppolo will be playing somewhere else pretty soon and be making a lot of money because I actually think, Mike, he's like somewhere between 12 and 18 in the league. He's a pretty good quarterback. He's a pretty good quarterback. So to me, the answer is Dak Prescott for a variety of reasons. The number one reason is he's the Dallas quarterback, and that comes with the territory. Ask Aikman about it. Ask Romo about it. Now ask Prescott about it. Dallas quarterback's under a lot of pressure. Maybe more for him in this game because he's at home and he just got paid $40 million a year. And somehow Dallas fans think, oh, if we paid him that much money, he must be the greatest quarterback in the world, which makes no logical sense whatsoever. So I think the pressure is squarely on Dak Prescott.
Yeah, Tony, it is. It is. I'm not going to disagree with any of your analysis leading up to that conclusion. But, Tone, I've spent some time in San Francisco over the last few years, as you know, and most of it is dealing with the Warriors. And so we're not talking about pressure. But, Tony, even in the offseason, the things that they say on local radio and just people locally about Garoppolo, you would think he was a bum and had no skill and no talent, and they want to run him out. And it's not that, okay, so I agree with you to a degree that he's not playing for his job because they didn't even have the job. He gave the job to somebody else. But Tony, the things they say about him, my God, they just trash Garoppolo all the time. And I think that brings about a certain amount of pressure as you're trying to prove you're not that guy. You're pretty good. You led a team to a Super Bowl. And so I still think it's Garoppolo. I think it's Garoppolo, even though he's not as bad as they would have you believe in the Bay Area.
I would just say this. The amazing thing about Dak Prescott is that people think they gave him all this money because he's a great quarterback. They gave him all this money because he outmaneuvered the owner. He outmaneuvered the owner and he got the money.
He's
good
pretty
for him.
darn good, too.
We move now to Novak Djokovic, who has again been denied a visa into Australia, this time by Immigration Minister Alex Hawke. Once again, Djokovic will appeal, and the door is by no means shut to him playing in the Australian Open, even though his visa application was not truthful. Wilbon, does any part of you want to see Djokovic play in this tournament?
Nope, none. Don't want to see it. I don't want the Australian Open, as a kid who grew up with tennis, paying rapt attention to tennis and playing tennis. I don't want to see the Australian Open held hostage by Djokovic in this storyline. I don't care if he gets booed. I don't care if he got the check and the trophy and got booed. No, I don't want to see any of that. I want to see him out. All right? So if he wasn't truthful on his visa application, then run him out. And I hope he loses his appeal and he's not able to play. And then they can take up this drama somewhere else at the next major, which is, of course, the French Open. But no, Tone, no part of me is up for let's turn this whole storyline and tournament, a slam, over to Novak Djokovic, as great a tennis player as he is. Zero part of me.
Yeah. So I sort of agree with you, but I'll tell you where I disagree with you. My position on Djokovic is very clear. I don't believe a single word he says. I don't believe there was any innocence in the mistakes that were made on his visa application. I do not believe that. But if you tell me he's playing, I'm going to watch. I'm going to root against him sitting in my house, but I'm going to watch because I want to see how the crowd is. If he gets through this, as he has 9 times previously, and he gets the record as the most majors ever of all time, are they going to cheer him for the accomplishment or are they going to boo him? They've got 50% capacity. Every other seat is going to be vacant because of COVID protocols. Every single person who goes to watch has to be vaccinated. And they're going to let this guy who's not vaccinated and laughs at vaccines, they're going to let him play. They're going to let this guy who laughs at the Australians and their lockdowns, they're going to let him play. They're going to let him play, even though that stuff he said that he wasn't traveling around before he applied to Australia is patently false. They're going to let him play. To me, Mike, this is like a legacy tournament for Djokovic. I wonder if he wins it, will he be booed? Will that destroy his legacy? And if he loses it, Mike, if he loses it, when he goes to France, he's not the favorite. And who knows about London or New York City if they're going to let people in at that point in time who are unvaccinated. Mike, you always say you like wrestling villains. I think Djokovic is a wrestling villain now.
No, Tony, I don't think he's a wrestling villain. I think he's a real villain. I don't think he's a wrestling villain, which is, wink, wink. Well, I really like this guy as soon as we go get some beer. You know what I mean? Look, I know how much you love tennis. You and I, more than 95% of the people watching this show, we love, have played, and covered tennis. I don't want to see Djokovic. And by the way, Tone, they're going to boo him. They're going to be like Philadelphia on steroids. They're going to boo him so passionately. And I'll watch, but I don't want that to be the dominant storyline. I don't.
Let's take a break. Coming up, which of last year's Super Bowl teams is more likely to lose on Sunday, the Chiefs or the Bucs?
And is the bigger deal that the Bucs won last night or that the Warriors lost again, got punked? Toss up is next.
If he wins it, would you think that's time for toss up? Two men enter, one man leaves, finishes the show, wonders whether he's making the most out of the time he has left, then watches football for 2 straight days. What's first?
Toss up. Which of last year's Super Bowl teams is more likely to get upset on Sunday, the Chiefs or the Bucs?
So I have to pick the Bucs here. I mean, they're missing a couple of key ingredients on offense. Godwin isn't playing. Antonio Brown has left the world, as far as we know. Philadelphia runs the ball pretty well, and the Bucs have sort of collapsed in terms of run defense over the last half of the season. They're allowing 4.7 yards per rush. I think that's the 5th worst in the league. Look, I don't think they're going to lose, Mike, but you're asking me to pick one. So I'm going to pick them because I really don't think Kansas City is going to lose. I mean, I don't, even without Edwards-Helaire playing in this game. I think that what Roethlisberger said the other day, all that stuff about the disparity between his team and Kansas City, I think every word was correct about that. They're 12.5-point underdogs, and maybe that's too much in a playoff game. But, Mike, if you asked me to look at the board and pick one game where I wouldn't be surprised if it was a 30-point spread, this would be that game to me.
Yeah, Tony, I feel the same way you do for the reasons that you just stated. But you know what? The Pittsburgh Steelers, man, that's an organization with every bit as much pride as anybody in these playoffs. And that includes Tom Brady. The Pittsburgh Steelers have been at this a long time. And so, yeah, I got to say that the more vulnerable of the 2 Super Bowl teams is Tampa. I almost said New England. Is Tampa, because of what Philadelphia has shown it can pop up and do occasionally. And it looked like even the big first down throw that Ben Roethlisberger had to make and did make and was completed last week, like he could barely get it there, and it was like 16, 15 yards in front of him. But Tony, there's something about this that says, hold on. This is why they play these games. The Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm not good. Ben Roethlisberger wants to say, oh, yeah, we got no chance. He's sandbagging. He's doing that with a wink because you know he's going to give everything in his power to win that game.
That's right.
I'm not discounting Pittsburgh like other people might.
In this particular case, I am. Next.
Yes,
Toss up. Bigger story from last night. The Bucs putting it together or the Warriors losing for the 4th time in 5 games?
So I actually wandered into this game at one point last night briefly, and I emphasize briefly. It was sometime late in the second quarter, Mike, and I looked at the score, and Milwaukee was already up by over 30 points.
Yeah.
I stayed with it for about a minute because it had a train wreck quality, and then I said, why are you watching this? And I got off the game. I found out today that at the end of the half, Milwaukee was ahead by 39 points. Mike, this is against Golden State, started out the year 18-2. This is against Steph Curry, who was the unanimous MVP between you and me for like the first month and a half, 2 months of the season. But since then, Mike, Golden State is 12-9, which is very ordinary for a really good team. And Curry, in the 15 games since he said, I might get 16 threes the next time I shoot, he's shooting 33%. It's the worst slump of his career. So to me, the bigger story is so clearly the Warriors losing. They may be dissolving in front of our eyes.
Yeah, you know, there's the talk of losing 4 or 5. Milwaukee did the same thing. I mean, we're now, Tony, halfway through the season, and teams are struggling. Several teams. I mean, the Nets, who just came back and had that big win over the Bulls, the Nets are 4-7. They lost to OKC last night. So these are the dog days. The answer to the question is Golden State. Tony, they are missing Draymond Green. And Draymond Green probably ought to be in the conversation among the top 7 or 8 players, not the top 3 or 4, top 7 or 8, for MVP. okay? Because when you have to play without him, it's not just his defense. It's his finding teammates, open. It's his setting screens. It's his ball movement. It's a lot of that stuff. And Draymond Green being out hurts them. Klay Thompson not playing tonight in Chicago because it's the second of back-to-back games. So this is going to be difficult. Tony, I said about 3 weeks ago, no team is going to win 60 games this year. That's how many good teams there are in the league that can beat you. I still believe that. Even Phoenix may have the best chance. Okay. They haven't had a slide yet. But the answer to the question is the Dubs. And Milwaukee can rise up and still beat everybody. They've still done that. So let's see where this is going. But the answer for now is the Dubs.
That's it. Let's take one last break. Still to come, did the NBA really need to stop the Kings from playing cold as ice at Russell Westbrook?
And will the Grizzlies extend their winning streak to 12 in a row tonight? Grizzlies, Ja Morant, Tone.
I landed on that
3.
game. 26th birthday tomorrow, Deebo Samuel. The 49ers wide receiver / running back has had a Pro Bowl season. The 49ers figured out they're a better team when Samuel has the ball, so they added running back carries to his already full plate of receiving. Samuel had 1,400 yards receiving this year and 365 yards rushing. That's 18.2 per catch and 6.2 per rush. More important, Samuel has a total of 14 touchdowns, 8 rushing, 6 receiving. And those are the kind of numbers the Carolina Panthers had hoped to get from Christian McCaffrey, but he got hurt again. Samuel was a second-round pick in 2019 out of South Carolina. He had 6 touchdowns that year for the Niners. Last year, Samuel played in only 7 games and only scored 1 touchdown. So this is his breakout season. His father, Galen, gave him the nickname Debo after the character in the movie Friday that starred Ice Cube and Chris Tucker.
McCaffrey's a nice player. He ain't scaring nobody like that. Deebo Samuel seems to me to be the greatest game breaker. Just game breaker. I'm not saying he's a better receiver than other people, but best game breaker since Jerry Rice. All right, maybe Marshall Faulk. But he's in a category, Tone, that too many dudes don't ever wander into. He can beat you whenever he touches the ball from whatever position.
That's right.
And the Cowboys might see a lot of his number coming at them this weekend.
Not so happy anniversary, Shad Khan. On this day last year, the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars hired Urban Meyer to coach his team. In the months following the hire, Khan was asked about the several regime changes in the past and how this one was different. Khan replied simply, quote, "This time I got it right," unquote. Well, not exactly. Meyer was tone deaf to what it means to coach in the NFL and was canned with a 2-11 record. The previous 3 head coaches Khan hired were all canned with bad records. Mike Mularkey went out at 2-14. Gus Bradley went out at 14-48. Doug Marrone, who actually made the playoffs once, went out at 22-42. Khan has 1 playoff appearance to show for 10 years of ownership. Plus, he drafted Blake Bortles. Some fans wore red clown noses and replicas of Khan's handlebar mustache to the last game. Reportedly, Khan may be interested in hiring Byron Leftwich as head coach. The track record does not recommend this job.
No, nothing recommends it, Tony. Look, a lot of owners, not just Khan, they conquer other businesses, other industries, and they think, oh, yeah, I'll go to the NFL or the NBA or Major League Baseball, do that. And no, they don't. And the next guy never seems to learn that. They all think they're different and they're going to get it right. Well, keep trying.
Happy trails to the Kings arena playing cold as ice. The Kings played the Foreigner song the other night when the slumping Russell Westbrook was introduced. They played it every time he missed a shot, which was often. Westbrook apparently took it in good humor, saying, quote, "That's funny. I hope they played it for the last 14 years, too. It's funny how they play it now. That's cute," unquote. But a Sacramento radio reporter says a league source told him the NBA told the Kings to knock it off, which is too bad because it's funny. In a similar story, Devin Booker got the officials to remove the Toronto mascot from Booker's sightline while he was shooting foul shots late in the game in Toronto. There's no one in the stands because of COVID protocols, and Booker fixates on a giant doll? After the game, Booker said, quote, "We hashed it out. We're homies now," unquote. Man, I thought the NFL was the no-fun league, Mike.
Leave my boy Book alone, but the league shouldn't be, come on. The league shouldn't be telling them what music to play. I mean, it didn't bother Westbrook. No. I mean, that is a no-fun league. That's an NFL sort of deal. You're right about that.
Yeah. Big finish, here we go. Cowboys rookie Micah Parsons made first-team All-Pro. That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, if he's the best defender in the league, like a lot of people think, first team defense, all team would make sense completely. Oregon upset number 3 UCLA in OT in Pauley. You surprised?
Should I be surprised? Oregon's usually a very good team. They're a good team. No. ACC Commissioner, your boy Jim Phillips, said today that now is not the time to expand the college football playoff. Your thoughts?
Jim Phillips and I, like a lot of things, Tony, are in lockstep on that, even though he's bailed on purple for the ACC. It was one of the best ADs, if not the best out there. He knows what he's talking about. Listen up, Tuukka Rask stopped 25 shots in a 3-2 win over the Flyers. You impressed?
First game of the season, he won the game. Yeah, last one. Grizzlies beat the Timberwolves for their 11th straight win. Are you smelling 12 against the Mavs tonight?
Yeah, all those people in Memphis who wanted Ja to